Jewish historical context. For example, the Jews believed in a resurrection. Their belief in a resurrection was that it would come at the end of time. There were nuanced views about that resurrection, but they believed in a physical resurrection at the end of time, which even though the Christian position, the time of Jesus, his resurrection is a bit different, it still fits within the Jewish context that there would be a physical resurrection. It's only that what the Jews missed of their time is Jesus was the first fruits of the resurrection of the end time. But in other words, our belief in a resurrection fits the historical context of first century Judaism, where if you say Jesus is a myth, it's way off the scale of the historical context, because first century Jews didn't believe in that. The first century Jews didn't believe in a spiritual resurrection. That's Greek. You know, if you're talking about spiritual resurrection, you're going to have to get that from somewhere, from Greece or from Greek sources or from Egyptian sources. But that is not a first century Jewish understanding of resurrection. And our position matches and is in accord with the historical context of the time. Research done on near-death experiences actually confirms our position, because there are many people who've had grief-induced sightings, and when you compare the scientific research there, Dale Allison has done a lot of research there. It actually, you know, the research that Dale Allison's done actually doesn't contradict our position. And also the other research which Dr. Gary Habermas and others have done about people who've seen visions after their death, after the spouse's death or whatever. These visions that last only a short time. The visions in the time of Jesus of resurrection sightings are over 40 days. The visions that near-death experience have, they don't have a massive effect on people in history, whereas the resurrection accounts has a massive effect on people in history. The visions that in the Gospels of the resurrection accounts are multiple in terms of a variety of different visions, group visions, individual visions, etc. That doesn't match any psychological studies that we know today in hallucinations or visions in near-death experience. So our position doesn't contradict anything that we've learned about near-death experiences. And again, it fits the historical context. So we've looked at explanatory scope, explanatory power, plausibility, less ad hoc. Our position just stays to the facts. When you go into the myth hypotheses or any other hypotheses, people start to invent things. For example, they say, well, the body might have been stolen, but there's no evidence for that. So people can conjecture things, but they start to put conjecture in without any evidence. Our position just stays to the solid evidence. And then illumination. And our hypotheses can provide good solutions to historical problems. Our position provides, if we believe in a literal resurrection, it provides a good help in understanding a lot of the emergence of Christianity, and also understanding the text of Christianity. If you look at all the New Testament, most of the New Testament, if you look at most of the books of the New Testament, apart from the book of Jude, maybe 2 John, 3 John, and what else is there? The book of James. The rest of the New Testament, all Paul's epistles the Gospels, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, 1 John, etc., and the book of Revelation. If you look at all those texts, if you look at them from an ancient historian's point of view, our belief in the resurrection, that he literally rose, helps you as a historian to actually understand what was going on in those ancient texts. Because right throughout, say, the book of Romans, this resurrection is brought in as a way of understanding Christian experience. So it actually helps you as a historian to unpack what the Christian experience is all about. So it actually illuminates history and helps us to understand history in a better way. Whereas if you took, say, I'm just concentrating on this because this is what the atheists, not all atheists, but the main internet atheists are on about, that Jesus is a myth. Where if you take the Jesus myth, that Jesus is a myth, you're actually misconstruing history, you're distorting history, you're making history difficult to reconstruct and to understand history in first century Jerusalem and surrounding area. And so for these reasons, I believe that the hypothesis that Jesus Christ rose from the dead is the better hypothesis. And that's the end of my lecture. Okay, I gotta go. I hope that was a blessing to you, and I'll see you around, and please leave your comments. Thank you. Take care now, and God bless. I gotta go.